Do you experience IBS symptoms like diarrhea, constipation, bloating, reflux, and wonder if it's connected to foods you're eating? Or do you have other symptoms like brain fog, mood issues, skin problems, autoimmune condition? All of these can be related to food intolerances. They can also be related to a lot of other things too. I'm Michael from Planet Naturopath, and in this video today we're going to talk about food sensitivity testing, who's a good candidate to do this, and what else you should do before you actually go down the rabbit hole of doing a food sensitivity test. There's a difference between food sensitivity and food allergies. Most food allergies are developed as a child and they're identified at a very young age. This is where people will have an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts or shellfish or eggs, and normally the reaction occurs within minutes and it's fairly extreme. A food sensitivity can be delayed. People can experience symptoms a few hours or even days later, and it can be more vague, just like brain fog or stomach upsets, headaches, migraines. They can all be connected to food sensitivities. If you've had lifelong issues, possibly they're relating to a food. The first thing I would do is do an elimination diet, cut out some of the most common trigger foods like gluten, dairy, potentially eggs, and see if it makes a difference. I would recommend cutting them all out and see how you go rather than one at a time, in case you're reacting to a couple of things. You might not get that resolution. For some people, it's hard to cut out stuff, or especially with kids, or you're just not too sure what you're reacting to. The symptoms could come days later. And this is where the food sensitivity test is quite good. Now there's a couple of options. I've seen people do a hair test for food sensitivity, and there's literally no scientific validation of these tests. I wish it was, because it's so cheap, but it's just not worth the cost. The best option is getting a blood test measuring IgG and IgA. And the difference between IgG and IgA is the IgA is a more immediate reaction. IgG can often be a lot more delayed. And if you've got the combination of both, and depending on the level of the severity, you may have to avoid that food for a longer period of time. But even if you come back positive for IgG, it doesn't mean that you're going to have to eliminate these foods. There could be other things contributing to a reaction, like leaky gut, like gut dysbiosis. So I always recommend checking those things first before you do a food sensitivity test, or doing it at least at the same time. Let's have a look at the symptoms of who would benefit from a test for food sensitivities. If you're experiencing gas, bloating, fatigue, skin rashes, nausea, vomiting, itchiness, a chronic cough, muscle pains and stiffness, you could benefit from a food sensitivity test. But look at the symptoms of who would benefit from an advanced gut test. It's very much the same sort of things, maybe a few more things, because the gut health can affect all aspects of health. And so I would always start with a gut Zuma test or a GI map test. Look at the underlying cause of someone's digestion issues. And often when you fix that, fix the leaky gut, fix intestinal permeability, a lot of the digestion symptoms and food allergies and sensitivities just disappear. Once you've done the gut healing, if you've still got problems, this is when, or if you've tried lots of things, this is when a food sensitivity test can be fantastic to try and identify those trigger foods. Let's have a look at the Vibrant Wellness food sensitivity test. This looks at 209 foods and 57 food additives. So with this one here, we measure against IgA and IgG. And in this particular sample, there's three high reactivity foods, but no IgA. And then there's quite a few moderate reactivity foods, and some of them are IgA. Whenever I see this many foods, I always think that there must be some type of leaky gut, intestinal permeability going on, and someone's just starting to react to a lot of the foods they're eating. And then with the food additives, there's one high IgG, and that was it for that. So with all the food sensitivities, this is all the foods that are tested. So these are all the positive ones, and then we go into the full report, and you can see there's quite a few different seafoods tested, from fish, crustaceans, shellfish, and these are common IgG and IgA triggers. Also different fruits and vegetables. It's not common to have lots of fruit and vegetable reactions, and sometimes when you see this could be another leaky gut marker. And when you see like foods like meats, another one that aren't so common, except for eggs. Eggs are a big trigger for food allergies and sensitivities. There's a whole range of different, coffee, tea, spices. Spices can often be
triggers for food sensitivities. And of course, nuts and seeds are big triggers as well. So sometimes people could be reacting to a food, like they might see, especially vegetables, they might see that they're reacting to cauliflower or broccoli, but this test may come back that there's no reaction. That's because they could be reacting to that from a low FODMAP point of view. These are high FODMAP foods that often cause gas and bloating, but they're not allergies or sensitivities. And then the gluten-containing grains as well. So there's quite a wide variety of foods, and then it goes into a lot of detail about the different foods and hidden sources of these types of foods. If you're trying to avoid them, what to look out for. If you have a moderate reactivity, often you just got to avoid these fruits for a little while or heal the gut. That's why I always recommend doing an advanced stool test. So this goes on for many pages because it lists all the foods that potentially have reacted. At the very bottom of this test, we'll just skip down here, and here you'll find the food additives. So stevia was a high IgG, and that's commonly found in a lot of artificial sweetened foods. It might be a better one than sucralose and aspartame and things like that. But if you're reacting to it, you still want to avoid that. And these are some of the foods, different thickeners, additives, flavor enhancers, food dyes are a common one. And so people can have an immune response to these. These can also affect people on a neurological level, like kids with ADHD, ADD. They might be reacting to these types of food colors. A lot of gums and thickeners, and even things like BPA, glyphosates, those types of things. So that's a look at the Vibrant Wellness Food Sensitivity Complete. If you've tried lots of things and you're looking for answers, this could be a good test for you.
Order food sensitivity test. Visit us at www.planetnaturopath.com.